All right. So this week we are going to talk about owning it and what that means. So when you come up to resistance, like we've been talking about through all these videos, that anytime we start a routine, a new go to create change, anything like that, we hit resistance. And so what we're doing is we're navigating, we're trying to find ways to get across that resistance, to overcome that resistance, or our creek, to cross our creek and overcome that resistance, keep pushing through so that you get stronger in your new habits, releasing your old habits, and then you keep moving forward as you create this new path for yourself. So this week we're talking about own it. That's the title of this week's is own it. What does that mean when you hit resistance? What does own it mean? I'm going to focus on three different parts. The first of which is going to be owning it when it comes to living in the present, owning where you are today. So, up to this point, we've talked a lot about releasing the past. The last week, we talked about trashing the clutter, getting rid of the clutter, and that means emotional, mental clutter. So, that means holding on to things from the past that are no longer serving us and letting go of the past, letting the past be in that little rear view mirror and looking through the big windshield. That's what we're doing is we're looking through the big windshield and we're living in the present. So that's one thing is to just really focus yourself on being in the moment. So instead of, feeling down or carrying baggage you don't need to carry or anything like that from the past, you're letting all of that go. And then instead of worrying about the future or what's this going to, what are my results going to be or how's this going to turn out or am I on the right path or like all those, things that we start to worry about, like, will I lose enough weight by this time or will I be here? Like, instead of doing all that, just be in the present and trust the process. So, what's the habits that you need to be focused on today that are going to continue to move you forward day by day, just by the nature of it, instead of stressing and worrying about the future. So, what are those habits? What are the habits? What am I supposed to do today that's going to move me forward? And then when I'm in tomorrow and tomorrow becomes my present, what am I supposed to do today? So if it's Sunday and Sunday is your meal prep day, then that's your focus for that day. And then, Monday, you have your workout, you have your food ready, you got your little checklist going for you. And then that's your focus for that day. So just one day at a time and then owning it as far as owning the present, being in the present. Okay. So the second thing that we're going to focus on is your no. And this is a big one, I think, mostly for women. But owning your no so that, a lot of times we tend to feel obligated. So maybe your whole routine is set. Like this is what you're doing day in, day out to get to your goals that you set for yourself when you started this program. And let's say that you have a workout scheduled, and those workouts need to be treated like that is your time, your special appointment with yourself, and nothing is allowed to touch that. So that might be a good time where someone might come along and say, "Hey, do you mind, do you want to go do this or do you mind doing this favor for me?" And it's like you want to help them or you want to go hang out with them, but that's your time for your workout. And it's okay to say, "No, I can't." I can do it maybe this time or whatever, but at 9 a.m. or whatever time, 5:30 a.m., 6 p.m., that is when I work out. I'm committed to that and I'm not going to waver from that. So that is where I talk about owning your no. The answer is no. And a lot of times, and I work on this for myself too, is we say no and we feel like we got to explain it. No, I have da 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 da. And I've seen the quote that no is a complete sentence. No. Now obviously, people you care about, you don't want to be so abrupt or whatever, but just in the sense of owning that no and knowing that my priority right now is my transformation, is creating these new habits and sticking with them day in and day out so that they become habits and it just becomes what I do. And then not only am I adjusting to these new habits, but the people around me start to adjust to them too. The more I say own my no and the more I say no, the more I'm sticking with my program. And they start to see that, and they no longer, they kind of just automatically start to learn, like, okay, no, that's when she typically works out. And then that becomes respected. And that's going to be super important as you go through this journey. You should be on month 2 now of your program. I'm sure by now you've hit some resistance. And this is where just really owning where you're at today, owning that no, and just taking ownership of your journey and saying, this is my journey and I'm going to make it. If this is going to happen, I'm the only one that can make it happen. It's all up to me to make this happen. And then the final one is another big one that I think is kind of big for women, is owning who you are and being okay with who you are. A lot of times we feel like, whether it's with our physique or just in certain things that we do, whatever it is, we feel like we watch other people, especially with social media now. We watch other people and we're like, oh, I wish I did that more. I wish I was more like that. Or I wish my body would do that or look like that. Like, let that go. And it's good to have goals. It's good to have, you know, something to shoot for, but own who you are. Be okay. Like, this is who I am, and I like who I am, and I'm okay with it. And that's the third part of this, is just really owning who you are, be who you are, because there's only one of you, and we need you just as you are. And we appreciate who you are. So own that and step into it. And even if you're someone who just, you want to drop some weight, you want to create this transformation, that's all great. That's all wonderful, for better health. Maybe if you're looking better, you're feeling better in your skin, you feel better in your clothes. That helps you with your confidence, just for yourself. But just own who you are, be proud of who you are, and walk in it. And it's always good to, use that as your foundation and then build on it. Like, okay, I love who I am. I'm proud of who I am. And I want to be a healthy version of who I am. And that's the journey that we are on now. So this week, I just really want to encourage you to focus on those 2 words: own it. Own the present, be in the present, own who you are, and own your boundaries. Those are your boundaries, and this is your journey. And if it's going to get done, you're the only one that can do it. You can have all the right tools, you can have everything, but if until you decide this is what I'm going to do, it's not going to happen. Once you make that decision and you stick to it, and other people seeing you stick to it, they'll respect it, they'll support you, then you are already overcoming that resistance and moving that much closer to that ideal self of where you're like, I feel transformed. I feel healthier. I feel stronger. I feel leaner. I'm happier because I just feel better overall, and I'm fulfilling my commitments to myself. That's your focus for this week. Make it an amazing week and go rock it.